guys, Sarah here from Highland Haven Australian Shepherds and Highland Haven Dog Training, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 7 of Dog for Thought. Joining me is my co-host, daughter, and dog trainer extraordinaire, Sophie.
Hi, everyone.
And also my old friend, old meaning long time ago, not in age, Beth.
Hello. This is so weird to me.
So we thought we would have Beth on today. We'll talk about some old times. The old time, young, well, I guess really, when we talk about our old times, we're like your age when we were friends. So
How old is Sophie now?
25.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, crazy.
Wow.
30 years ago. But let's do an update first. Give us an update in Dogland. What's going on?
So the puppies are 3 weeks and a half, and they're starting to actually stand up and toddle around like little babies.
Super cute.
I call this the guinea pig phase, because they're just like round and fat and haven't really gained any muscle yet.
And they run around and go,
Yep. They're starting to get pretty stinky down there, so that usually means we got to set up the toddler room now, so they have a place to use the bathroom instead of just using the bathroom everywhere.
So poor Gianna slept over last night.
Yeah, she said it was pretty stinky.
She hasn't been here for a couple of days, and we have a very noisy hound in the training room, so you can hear that from the puppy room. And he has severe separation anxiety, this new training dog. So he whines periodically through the night. So I said to her, full disclosure, if you spend the night tonight, meaning last night, he might keep you up, right? We can't hear it, fortunately, because we're 2 flights up. Amen. So she was like, oh, yeah, no problem. But what she did not anticipate was the very, very stinky puppies.
Yeah, I guess you didn't warn her about that.
Well, I didn't really think about it because, we never sleep with the puppies at this age.
No, and then, yeah.
And then moms are usually not. The problem is that the moms don't spend the night with them. So we blocked the puppies off. Evie was in the room with Gianna, but she did not have access to the puppies because we're starting to wean them, right? So we want them to only nurse like twice a day at this point. So that means that Evie isn't in there cleaning up the poop. That's the key. So then there was just poop everywhere. So I guess it got so bad. Gianna had to get up and change the mat in the middle of the night, and then change it again this morning. But like you say, we'll do the toddler pen today, which will be not the mat, so it'll be easier to clean. Plus, we'll set up the toileting station, the bathroom, basically for them, and they'll start to learn to use that. And then it's stinky, but at least clean usually in the morning.
Yeah. Well, it's easier to clean in the morning. I think it's still pretty stinky.
It's still very stinky.
It's probably Gianna's last couple of nights here.
Well, she's going to stay tonight, but I told her that she should take Evie upstairs. Actually, this is our guest room, so sleep in here with Evie on the 3rd floor with us, because you just can't sleep with them at that point. They're just too smelly.
Yeah.
And they're pretty noisy too, because they're awake a lot of the night. You don't realize that unless you're down there with them. They walk around, they squeak, they play, and just the shuffling can keep you up. So I think maybe she will spend the night upstairs with Evie. And Evie will be thrilled, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, we did tell her last night. We were like, you should stay up here. She's like, no, it'll be easier.
I think she's afraid that she's going to wake up the house if she has to let Evie out.
But the house is up all the time.
But what people don't know is our house is on a 22 of 24-hour schedule. Is only like 2 hours in the 24-hour day where somebody is not up. Because he's a night owl. And when you go to bed, usually, 2 in the morning maybe? Yeah. Gary's up. Your dad's up at 2:30 in the morning. And then he leaves at 4. And then it's just a couple of hours before we're up again. Yeah. So this is like a 24-hour. It's like a 24-hour diner in this house.
Yep.
It never closes.
Nope.
So my point is, I was like, you can bring that dog up and down to go outside. As long as she doesn't bark, she's not going to wake anybody up. The dogs are used to you guys moving around. So I think she'll sleep up here. We'll see how it goes. So we have the bed up here that's never been slept on. So should be good. And then we'll set up the pen today. Yep. I'm excited about that. I was complaining that the fences that we used to make the toddler pen, that we left them outside since we moved here, because I was just overwhelmed with moving in. And they were so filthy today. So I had to clean them all up. And now we have to put them all back together.
Who were you yelling at when you came inside after cleaning them?
I was yelling at at past Sarah because she did not take care of future Sarah, and present Sarah was annoyed that past Sarah treated future Sarah so badly. Because, it's like, that when I do my Christmas decorations, right? When I put them away, I will a lot of times leave notes to myself, like, this looked really cute in this part of the room, or don't forget to hook this to. And then when I open this stuff the next year, I'm like, oh, past Sarah was so kind to future Sarah. Present Sarah really appreciates that. So
We say this a lot in our house.
That is truly amazing.
you never talk about past Beth and future Beth?
Well, yeah, all the mistakes I've made and,
Well,
learned
that's
from.
different.
But I'm talking about, like, leaving notes for yourself regarding the Christmas decorations.
Whenever I get, this is what I do. Whenever I get anxious about something that's about to happen, I say to myself, future Sarah is like super competent and you should trust that she will be able to handle this. And that helps me not be stressed. And I also think that when I don't want to do something and I'm lazy about cleaning something, I'm being shitty to my future self, because the future self is now going to have to clean up all that grime off the goddamn fencing. And, it didn't have to be. That
Never
didn't have
thought
to
of
be.
it that way. I do think, like, I should do these dishes tonight so I don't wake up and have a dirty kitchen.
Right, because future Beth is going to have to do all that cleaning.
Yeah, I did that this morning.
See, if past Beth was kind to future Beth, present Beth would be very happy.
No, but by the time night comes, I'm so tired and I'm just like, I just want to go to bed.
Yep. No, well, I totally get that. Mm-hmm. Totally get that, especially with the puppies. Yesterday was crazy because you were gone for a good portion of the day. And we have training dogs, kind of difficult training dogs, and then the puppies, and then you came home, and then Gianna came, and then
You
it
were
was
off
awesome.
duty.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
I collapsed on the couch, watched 5 minutes of TV, and then fell asleep.
Yeah.
And
You
then-
needed that after
And then
yesterday.
sat up and went, what time is it? Oh my God, I got to go to bed, and then staggered upstairs.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the perfect night for me. All right, we should get talking. We should get started. We don't have a formal topic for today. We thought we would just sort of shoot the shit about old-timey dog stuff. So you want to talk about how we met? So hold on, before you start, when did Kurt Cobain die? 1993?
No idea.
April of 93. That's when we met. Because I remember working at the groomer and it came across the radio that he died. So it must have been about April of 93 that we met. And where are we? February of 25?
Yeah.
That's insane. That is insane. That's
Yep.
crazy. That's more than 30 years. That's 32 years. Holy shit. Right?
Wow.
Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we did meet in the grooming shop. I don't remember exactly how it went down, but we did meet there.
Were you there grooming when I arrived? Because I was just
I
doing
probably
bathing.
was. I probably was grooming.
So we worked in a grooming shop in Chappaqua in 1993. I was actually training part-time. And so I was filling in sort of the rest of my time doing some grooming.
Wait a minute. Was I grooming there? Maybe I was just bathing and brushing and doing trimming. I don't know no, because Cindy was grooming.
Oh,
Da-da,
Cindy, I
there
forgot
goes the
about
light.
Cindy. Does she
Popped
still
on.
work?
I don't know if she still owns the grooming shop in Mamaroneck, but she did have the grooming shop.
I forgot about
I haven't
Cindy.
spoken to her in a very long time, but she was grooming there. That's right. And oh my gosh. Didn't she just have a baby? I think she has two children, and she had just had a baby then.
So was it just her and Christine that were doing the grooming then?
I think so,
Just two
yes.
people?
And because I remember being in the back and brushing out, oh my gosh, the standard poodles that would come in there. Oh, and the Portuguese water dogs.
Yes. So this was 93 and Porties were a big thing.
Yes.
So, and Wheatons. Lots of Wheatons.
Oh my goodness, yes.
You have to hand scissor them? Was this before the clipper era?
This was before the clip,
Before the snap-on.
the snap-on
stuff.
combs, yeah.
Yeah. And then, so was it kind of a most groomers do not have fluff dryers anymore. The porn industry took them over. But So you don't know you don't know what a
I don't
fluffer
really want
is.
to know, but go ahead. Sorry,
Jacob, do you know what a fluffer is?
Unfortunately.
Lord have
Well,
mercy.
in the dog industry,
That's in the horse world, though. They have that. But in the dog industry, bather fluffer. See, I wouldn't want to bather fluffer, but go ahead. Sorry.
well, that's the way it used to be. So
Yeah.
the groomer would just do the scissoring, probably because it was so labor
Yeah,
intensive.
it's so taxing.
Yeah.
But now you have clippers.
So you'd have a bather, and they would then completely dry them. Remember the bearded collies? There was a million fucking bearded collies too. Do you remember that?
Well, I used to show the bearded. I love the bearded collies.
But I'm just talking about and they would be in full coats. You know what a bearded collie looks like?
No.
They look kind of like an old English sheepdog, just smaller, like
With
slighter,
long flowing hair.
long straight hair.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and you can imagine how long that takes to dry. So that you would completely
Nobody brushes
brush
their
them
dog.
out and dry them, and then they would go completely dried and brushed out to the groomer table, and then she would actually groom them.
Yeah.
So, I was doing some of that, and I guess you were too. You must have been a bather
No,
too.
I definitely was a bather then because I came from the Pleasantville shop where I learned bathing, and I went to the shop in Chappaqua, and then I went off to grooming.
Did you ever go to grooming school, or you just learned on
No.
the job?
Just learned. And I think you have to have that. I think you have to have an eye. You have to be somewhat artistic, and you have to have, which I don't see very often, people that have the eye to knowing a dog's emotions and what they're feeling and everything. You get these people that be like, I like dogs.
I want to just groom
Yeah.
dogs.
Oh,
all
that's
day.
so
that would
fun.
sound
That's,
awesome.
Yeah. And it's not. You
It's a-
can't. They need to know how to read a dog and know the emotions of the dog. And I feel like you're just born with it.
No, I agree. I think the same thing with training is either you have that eye to understand what the behavior is going on and to be harder on a dog or softer on a dog. And if you aren't perfect, you can really mess up how a
Absolutely.
dog feels.
We were talking about that this morning, me and Gianna, because I was looking at watching you. I was watching Sophie on the camera in the training room because we have kind of an intense group right now. So I wanted extra eyes on there. So I was watching you interact with the dogs, and I said to Gianna that you are a natural dog trainer. Like, you're an incredible dog trainer,
Oh, thanks.
and that the dogs absolutely love you. Like, they love me, but they are obsessed with you. And that's because you are just a natural at this. This one over here, Jacob, the thing I'm most proud about you is that you're like such a kind man. You're like such a good person. But you are a dog trainer. Like, though I was thinking today, I know I'm getting all
I
teary.
know. Jeez. Weepy.
I didn't expect to do this, but I just think that you are natural at this, and I hope that we can make enough money that you can have a good life doing this, because I think you're really, really good at it. And I didn't want to leave you out, because I was like, what am I most proud about you? And that's that you're just a good man, a kind man, and they're in short supply in the world. All right, back to the show. So yes, I think that you have to have a lot of tools in your bag to be a good dog groomer. I am not a good dog groomer because I don't have the patience. I get impatient, and then I just go click, 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 and then the dog looks like Edward Scissorhands. It's just
No, I couldn't be a groomer either for that reason. I don't have patience, and then like I get emotional, and then I have a hard time tampering my emotions when the dog's emotional, and it's like it's about the dogs, not about me.
well. Plus, most grooming dogs are not very well behaved.
No.
I mean, if you get a nicely behaved grooming dog, it's wonderful.
Well, doing our dogs, I get annoyed, and our dogs are really, really good.
Yeah, and I mean,
So-
like, if you're talking about a show dog who gets groomed all the time, I imagine that's different. They're like so programmed to be groomed because it happens so often. I've done some grooming. I don't want to say poorly, but mediocrely. You got to know your strengths. You got to know your weaknesses. Grooming's not my bag, baby.
But I think that's why it's so important if you're breeding dogs to get the dogs, like you say, programmed to grooming right from the start. Before they leave, they should, know that their feet are going to get touched and everything. And that's so important. And I really emphasize that with people that get dogs, and if they purchase them or adopt them when they're puppies, to get them to the groomer as soon as possible, because you want them to get used to all the noises, all the things going on in the grooming shop, so they're not, a complete
So it's not
mess.
traumatic for them because
Right.
it's painful because I mean if it's a grooming dog it's likely going to be going to a grooming shop. I mean the trend now is for more in-home grooming or
Mobile
grooming vans,
or-
right?
yep.
But most grooming dogs will end up in a shop and a shop is a loud chaotic environment.
With crates, so crate training again.
Yeah,
you
these
know.
are all part of our 6 quality of life skills every dog should have, right? They should be able to be groomed in an untraumatic way because it's just painful to watch them struggle
You're
through that.
doing a complete injustice to your dog, not crate training them, letting them be calm in a crate, letting them get used to grooming, because they'll be a complete mess.
And it's sad. And then, people don't brush them in between. And then the dog gets shaved and then they get mad at the groomer and they say never again, but they don't change their ways. They don't groom the dog in between. And now the dog's getting shaved
He's
again.
shaking while he's out here. I don't, and they're holding on to him like,
Yeah, right.
he doesn't want to come in. No, he does want to come in. He's got to get used to everything.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, we could talk about Dutch. He was a mess with he did really good with the bath, but it was overwhelming and Mai had to go so slow with him when we started like brushing his feet and brushing his hair and getting all the knots off his face. And then it came to a point she couldn't even fully finish his face because he was so
was so
overwhelmed and we
sad,
had to just put him away because he was too overwhelmed. And that's just from lack of being touched and lack of, being used to
Or
being
lack of
groomed.
just a good experience being groomed. And it's painful to have mats pulled out.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a wire hair pointing Griffon, so you can actually brush those knots out.
Yeah.
Unlike a poodle where they're permanent, you got to cut them out. So I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah.
I mean, like in a way it's good that you don't have to like shave big spots. In a way it's bad that you're brushing out knots.
In
right?
the same sense, you have this groomer who has a lineup, like a good groomer will have like 10 to 14 dogs a day to groom. And they're rushing and they don't want to take the time. They all don't want to not take the time, but a lot of them are just want to get their dog done, and they have to take time with these dogs that these are all new experiences. And, it's the clipper, the noise from the clipper, the noise from the dryer. And I used to wrap towels around the dog's heads, like around their ears. So it kind of silences the dryer a little
Well,
bit.
now they use the,
And-
what do they call them
Yes,
now?
I just saw that. They have that,
They're great.
I don't, whatever it's
The
called.
little hoodies that they
Yes,
put on them?
Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but somebody told me about it the other day, and I was like, interesting.
That's
Things that-
great.
yeah.
It's so great.
If you had just created that and I had created pill pockets, the two of us would be
Listen,
wealthy
I
people.
had-
I'm telling you.
I had the bungee dog toy.
I remember.
And that was, if I would have just did it.
Yep, back in the day.
Ugh.
So we met in the grooming shop, and I'm going to say 93, spring of 93.
I
I'm
looked
gonna
it
say.
up. Kurt Cobain, April '94.
Oh, okay, 94. So 31 years, right? It'll be 31 years, yes. So
I was 24.
and I guess I'm a year older than you. When were you born? 60?
70.
Yeah, so I'm a year older than you.
Wait, what month did you say?
April.
April.
So I was 23.
I have to say that Beth is a natural salesperson. I don't think you probably know this about her. She can sell anything to anyone. She's like Nancy Butterfield. She's a very good salesperson. And so Beth basically supported me for the first year I trained because she just sent me all of my training clients initially. Because, nobody knew me around here. I just moved back from Ohio. I was living in Ohio after college. And I had nobody knew me around here. And Beth just told everybody in the grooming shop, he needs
took her
grooming.
in.
Here's her card. And got me all my grooming dogs. I should just hire her as
Training dogs.
training dogs. Definitely not grooming dogs. She should be a freelance salesperson
Yes,
for us.
you wanted me to sell tents.
Did I?
Yes.
Did I want you to come work for us?
Yes.
Oh. You would have done good at that too. I'm telling you, you can sell anything.
I remember that talk. You were like, you could sell ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah, it's true. That's another thing that you're born with. You're a born salesperson or not. I can sell.
I
can
think if I
definitely
believe
sell.
in something, I did, it's got to be something that I truly believe in because I'm not into, telling lies and things. But if it's something I believe in, which I did think you were, and I still do today, I'm a good dog trainer and it's something I believe in. So
All right. Well, We got to get her on the team here, Soph.
Listen, I need to do something. We can open up grooming too. We can do a little bit of grooming in here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We were talking the other day about how funny it is that we know so many groomers. Like, why is that? So we know
Monica, Jane, Maya, Nancy,
Beth.
Beth.
That's it? Are you sure we don't know more than that? 5?
No, I think that's 5.
5 people. I mean, think.
That we're close with.
Yeah. To be fair, we only have 6 friends.
Yeah, we
so
don't have so many
5
friends.
of them are all
Groomers.
I don't have any friends either. A very small pot of people.
So that's a big percentage that are groomers.
It's like 50%.
So Monica went from a grooming shop to, well, not even a shop, Dogtopia.
Yeah.
So
And then she did a vet grooming, like in the back.
she still does that.
She still does that, but for a different company. And then she does at-home grooming.
Yeah, so she started traveling and doing grooming in people's homes. Of course, only small dogs.
Yeah.
But she's done quite well at that.
Yep.
Yes, that's a big
Big
that's what I
market.
would want if I
Did
was-
you know that these fancy apartment buildings have a grooming room in their basement?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
All the new apartment buildings, like in New York City and up in here, in like down county, if you put a new, you'll have the fancy laundry room, and then you have a dog room with an actual grooming tub, and then you can sign up for it, and your groomer can groom your dog. Is that amazing?
That's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
I
Super cool.
love that.
So it used to be in the day, and we could talk about how we've expanded our policy on selling puppies to people in the city. Mm-hmm. We could talk about that. That's a good one. Part of the reason we didn't sell to people who rent apartments is that if you lose your lease, will you be able to find another lease that allows dogs? Right. But what apartment people and owners in New York City and certainly down county Westchester, what they've discovered is millennials don't have children.
Yeah.
They have dogs. Mm-hmm. And if you want people to pay through the nose for you need to make it dog friendly.
Yep.
So most places allow dogs now, which is incredible. And they have these little add-ons.
Which is so funny because when I go stay at a hotel, I don't want a hotel that allows dogs. I know that sounds terrible.
No, I get it.
It's like,
Yeah,
I
do
can't,
too.
There's a million reasons, but I cannot stand it because people they can't control their dogs, and the rooms usually stink, and they put that like carpet powder all over, and then, Bob gets an allergy attack. It's like crazy. But I can't stand that. I can't stand hotels that allow pets.
To be fair,
Like all the
most
time now.
places that allow like the general public to have dog access to, I usually don't like to go to as a trainer because it makes me upset to see all these anxious dogs and
Me
in
too.
these really bad situations that they're not thriving in. I'm just like, your dog doesn't need to be here. He's a mess.
My boys always like cringe because they're like, "Mom, don't
say anything.
don't say anything.
Don't say anything.
I'm like, oh gosh.
I don't say anything. I
have
just
a hard
stew. I
time.
stew silently.
Oh my gosh, I have such a hard time saying. The other day we were at the Norwalk Aquarium, and it's a lovely little aquarium, and of course there were children everywhere, and I love kids, but I don't like adults that can't, this little girl was banging on the glass to this animal's enclosure, and the adult was just standing there watching her, and I'm like, we shouldn't do that.
Did you say something?
Yes, I said we shouldn't. And it just
I would just
continued.
walk away and say something snarky. I don't like confrontation. Sophie and I have a lot of confrontation around the world.
But then when we have confrontation, it takes us such a long time to decompress afterwards.
Yes.
It's like not worth it. So
Yeah. No, I get that. For me, the hotel thing is, do they have like a ballroom or something? Because that means that there will be weddings, and the wedding party will keep me up. So I won't go to hotels that have.
We do a lot of Airbnbs now.
Yeah, she does
seems
them
like
too.
It's
I like Airbnbs.
the better choice for us. But again, I try to stay away from the ones with the dogs. But sometimes they're usually pretty clean. But I just look at the reviews.
Yeah, yeah. It's all going over the reviews.
Yep.
For sure.
Otherwise, you walk into a place and you're like, "Oh, it smells in here." Didn't read this on the review.
Let me tell you, you will read it in the review if it stinks in there. You'll see that thread throughout the reviews. All right, so where were we? April of 94.
You guys haven't left that spot.
We're still
We're
there.
Yeah, you're still
stuck in
talking.
April of
You're still
94.
stuck in the same spot.
I feel like I was not there that long. I feel like I only worked there for like 6 months. And then I think you stayed after I left. But you and I stayed really good friends for a long time.
Yeah, did I go to Mamaroneck after that? I'm trying to think where I went to.
Did you you went to Cindy's? You worked as a groomer at Cindy's?
Yes. No, bather. I didn't
Oh,
groom
remember
on
you
my
did,
own for a very
Ridgefield,
long
too.
time. That was after Cindy. I went to Ridgefield. That place was crazy. Bonjour.
Yep. She was nuts, that lady. But it was a cool store. So it was a really, Ridgefield is really wealthy and has a really nice downtown. So the place was called Bonjour. Bonjour is how you say hello in French.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Wow, you're
No, I got
You're
the
Gen
bone,
Z.
and I got it.
okay, but you're
I
Gen
got
Z,
it.
so you never
Well,
know.
I mean, it didn't go over my head. I got it. Went
Good.
Right to the
Did you
brain.
get it, Jacob?
I got it.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. It wasn't a
I
hard one.
underestimated you. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
It really
I
did.
apologize.
I know what bonjour means.
But she had this really cool shop up front that had all this really cool dog stuff, paraphernalia, or whatever. Of course, this was before the internet, so you couldn't just go online and find all this cool stuff. You had to actually find a shop, like Good Dog on Martha's Vineyard, sort of like that.
Yeah.
Right. Of course, a place like that really can't stay in business anymore. And then she had a grooming shop in the back. So that's when I had the kennel, because I had sort of the middle of the day off, so I would come and just hang out.
In Mayapack, that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Yep. And I
That
would
was
come and
nice.
hang out and watch you groom. And they didn't, like, now is,
You're just like me. I would just go into the shop with Monica and Jane and just be like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And they would just be like shaving dogs down.
I know.
Was that now when did you rescue Divvy? Was that around that time as well? Because I remember
That was when I had the kennel.
Yeah. Okay, so it was around that time.
Yep. Yeah. So the whole story about Dibby, Beth was there. Beth was the first person I called. You came over.
Gosh, she was.
I think you helped me shave her.
I don't remember. She was so cute.
After the
She was-
podcast, we found the photos. We can show you the photos after if you
Oh
want.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I loved Kelsey. I love that dog. She was like my favorite dog.
Oh my God, she was a pistol.
I took her on vacation with me. I don't know
You
where you
did,
were.
I forgot.
She went to Rhode Island with
I
me.
forgot.
You would love Twiggy then. I mean, the
Yes.
same dog.
It's the same
She's
dog.
a tough dog.
She was amazing, and I love Luther.
Beth
too,
is
of course.
dogless right now.
But I have a cat that's very.
I feel like
mean.
I feel like
When the
Twiggy
cat-
would
Twiggy
bully.
needs a mean cat.
Yeah,
You
but
kidding
she
me?
would bully, Bob and the kids.
Oh,
She would
yeah,
bully all those
probably.
boys.
Probably.
Beth would be the only
Isaac
one to
would
control
love
her.
It. He would love it. He would love it.
She's a
He's
tough
mad that
cookie.
I'm here today without him. He's like, I can't believe you're going down there on a school day without me.
Oh, you'll come back when they're cuter.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can bring the
can
boys.
see
That's what I
the
told him.
puppies.
I said, they're nothing to see now. I like the guinea pig thing. That's cute. They do look like little guinea pigs.
And they have no muscle. They're
No,
just like
they're
little
blobs.
sausages. Yeah.
I like their legs. Their legs look like my legs, like little short pig legs.
Yeah, but they're super
So
cute,
cute.
on them.
After all the nice things she said about you today, how dare you?
Did I tell you in college that I told my friends, I was looking in the mirror and I was like, I have like pig legs. My legs are like pink and they're short and stocky. I have like pig legs. And then I got in the elevator the next day and it said, Sarah has pig legs.
So mean.
These are your friends?
No, they were kidding. It was hilarious. It was so funny. And that stayed on that freaking wall of the elevator for years.
Probably still there.
Maybe. I don't know what made me think of that. Anyway, I thought it was hilarious. I have learned to love my pig legs. They have carried me 56 years. So,
Never broken.
no,
I get your patella.
I did break my leg, but that wasn't my fault.
Well,
If
it
it
wasn't really your leg. It's your little kneecap.
okay, well, technically it's the break.
It
It wasn't my patella. It was my tibia. What's the bottom? That's
Oh,
tibia.
it was your tibia? I thought it was
Yeah.
your patella.
No, it's my tibia. It's when Remy. And I called them, and they came running towards me. It was in the woods, and they did that turn on a dime and raced towards you at 500 miles an hour.
But it was fall time, so all the leaves were out, and they slid.
And they
in.
slid into me they would have taken me out, but my foot was caught on a root, and so they hit me, and it was like a football injury where your leg sort of bends completely the wrong way. And then it comes back, it snaps back, and then the snap back breaks the top of your tibia. And I was in the woods. That was fun.
Were you alone?
I was with my friend Claire,
Oh, that's
and
good.
she's French though. So,
We're just roasting people.
well, I have to say I was on the ground,
Well,
like
then she
unable to
knows
speak.
Bonjour.
Yeah, true.
There you go.
Very true. I was on the ground, unable to speak. I was in so much pain. I thought for sure that they like blew out my ACL. And she just stood over me like a good Frenchman, a French woman, and said, "Are you okay? Why aren't you answering me?"
Jeez.
I was like, "Are you okay?"
Oh.
To be fair, I was like that too when you broke your wrist. I was like, you're fine. It's not broken.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh no, it's definitely."
And then
broken."
all of a sudden you turned white and I was like, oh, she's going to pass out. Sit down.
Yeah. So then I just limped out of the woods. I was like, "I can't continue the walk," and she's like, "Okay, do you want me to come back with you?" I said, "No, I'm fine." She said, "Okay, see you later." I can only make fun of Claire because she's French, so she doesn't listen to podcasts. So she will not listen to this.
No, she won't.
Maybe Kenny will, though.
Yeah.
Or Florentine.
Does Florence listen to our podcast?
Maybe. Possible. Anyway, that's Claire. We should have her on the podcast. That would be a fucking gas. Could you imagine? She'd go, no, 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 no. The whole time.
Yeah. Every single time you would make a comment, she would disagree with it, whatever you would make. And that's what would happen. It would
This
be
is
an
my
argument
very
the
good
whole
friend.
time. Yeah, we love Claire, but she argues about everything.
But she's very French.
Yeah.
All right. Back to April of 94.
We haven't left there yet?
No, yeah, we have left there.
This is the title of the podcast, April of '94.
So, you complain that you don't have friends, which is very typical of a 25-year-old. I mean, like, 20s are impossible to find friends. Also, in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, all impossible to find.
Dog people. I don't know. I think that's why I like dogs. It's just,
You don't need a friend, just bring your dog with you.
that's right.
But Beth and I were friends because we were both single
And dogs.
and into dogs, and we sort of had somewhat flexible schedules. So we spent a ton of time together. That was a very intense young friendship. Would you not agree with that?
Yes. No, I agree.
And then
And I
got
had
married.
Cocker
and then you got
Spaniels then.
married.
We
Yeah.
didn't talk about my dogs. We talked about your dogs. I had Cocker Spaniels then. That was back in the day.
Yeah, and you showed them.
I showed them.
And
Champion.
you bred Splash once.
Yes. And there's a reason for that. She was just not a good mother.
Interesting. Tell us about that. How is she not a good mother?
Well, see, Bernie had them with that litter. Oh, wait, maybe she did have 2 litters.
So were they both with Gus?
Neither were with Gusty. It was with Benny, and he was a black and tan.
And that
Cocker
was
Spaniel.
Bernie's dog.
Yes, who was also, he was a champion. So Splash was not a champion. I'd never finished her title. She didn't like showing. But I know that she tried to like attack the puppies when she was giving birth. So that wasn't
So what
good.
would we say now?
You'd have to hold her down and put them on
Yeah,
the nipples
but-
so you
Yeah.
get her hormones going.
And
Well-
what else was missing?
Calcium.
Calcium.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you heard the whole
See.
story about Evie and her aggression towards the puppies?
I don't know if I listened to that podcast.
Yeah, so she, on day 9, she suddenly turned to one of the puppies, showed teeth, growled, and snapped. Yeah, and Gianna caught it on video because she heard
Wow.
growling coming from the whelping box and sent me the video, and I came right downstairs like,
Poor
no,
Gianna.
no. She's like, is this normal?
Yeah.
And I said, no, that's not normal. That's really frightening. So
Yeah.
long story short, because the listeners have heard this story before, but I ended up, there's two camps. The vets say it's not a calcium deficiency.
Yeah.
The vets who have never bred a dog.
But that's right. Yeah.
And then the breeders go, that's a calcium deficiency. You need to give them calcium. So I give calcium paste, which wasn't done back then. I give calcium paste through the delivery and then about 3 or 4 days after. So I'd stopped this 4 or 5 days prior to this. So anyway, long story short, I decided to put her back on calcium paste, which can cause other problems. So you have to be really careful with it, which is why the vet didn't want me to do it. And within 24 hours, she was back to normal. So
And she
I would
hasn't
say
had
the
since.
aggression is calcium deficiency.
So as you're talking to me, I remembered she did have 2 litters. So she had the first litter, and but Splash was a very, she was a party color, tricolor Cocker Spaniel, and they're usually a
In the
little
90s.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So she did settle down with those puppies, and then I had another litter when I lived in Mamaroneck. She was with me, and I had another litter. But then she got sick, and I stopped breeding her. She had hemolytic autoimmune. So that was a whole...
I wonder if they can screen for that now in Cockers. I wonder what their panel looks like.
I don't know. It was... I noticed it. I don't know. She had she was a good mother the second time around. Like, I mean, she was fine after she got used to the first litter, but the second litter, she was a good mother then. But I think she was not feeling well then, so long ago.
Oh,
my
maybe.
brain is.
Yeah.
And then I remember the day she started passing out, like in her crate. So her red blood cells were like depleted.
Interesting.
And,
What's
she
it called?
needed hemolytic autoimmune disorder. It's also something mediated autoimmune.
I was going to look it up on my phone, but that's my phone right there. Oh no, that's my phone.
So hemolytic autoimmune, and she needed a blood transfusion. So
Go into Neogen, which is what?
I don't know.
Who's the
plasma. Was that what you're talking about?
what do we screen our dogs with? What company?
This one?
I want to say Paw Print, but it's not Paw Print.
Paw Print.
Is it
Paw Print Genetics?
Oh, okay, it is Paw Print.
Paw Print Genetics.
Yeah, and then look at Cocker Spaniel and let's look at their panel. I wonder if they can screen for that now.
I wonder.
They probably can.
Well,
I would
Crazy
imagine
what they can
Cockers
do.
have a pretty big panel.
Yeah.
So when I say panel, for those who are listening, it's the number of genes that the dogs
how do we know what to
have been identified.
The sad thing is, so you remember Char?
Sure.
Her dog, autoimmune. So it went down into. So I wonder now if that was a genetic.
Oh, I'm sure it was hereditary.
She got one of the puppies from
Right.
Splash. Sad.
Do you want me to look at it, Soph?
Yeah. I just don't understand how to.
So, depending on how active the breed club is, the fanciers, how much money they've contributed. So I guess they would be under American Cocker Spaniel.
Correct.
So there's just like certain breeds that they've just put more. Like I imagine standard poodles probably have big
Right.
panels because they put so much money
Golden
into them.
retrievers.
Yep.
Yeah. Bernese Mountain Dogs.
Yep. So stuff
Yeah,
like that.
all
Or
that.
like if you have like a flat-coated retriever, not a lot of people know about that breed. So therefore
So
they haven't.
that's
put
when I
much
hung
money.
up my breeding hat. And then once I got out of, showing and everything, I just went more towards rescue. And so that's what I...
And then that's when you changed to Pyrenees.
Well, I would rescue pretty much anything, but my husband one day we were talking about a dog, and he's like, I really like Great Pyrenees. And then, so when I read up on them, I was like, okay, why don't we foster? So we signed up with a rescue and fostered, and I brought her home, and my husband's like, oh, she's never leaving. I'm like, no, she's a foster. We're not keeping her. And she was a little crazy, but, when you get a dog from rescue, they have to decompress. There's a lot of time. And I thought to myself, what am I doing? This dog is like crazy. She jumped out of one of our windows. Thankfully,
Oh my
thankfully
gosh.
we have a fenced in yard. We came home, and my husband's like, why is Val outside? I'm like, what? And she had jumped through the screen window.
This was the one that just died, Val.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
my gosh.
But she turned out to be an amazing
Yeah,
dog.
you got to get through that.
And
that
when I
decompression
called,
period.
the great thing about the Great Pyrenees Rescue that we volunteer for is there is a trainer that will talk to you. So I remember like where I was out at this museum, this outdoor museum, and had my kids, and I had called her, and she called me. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I think I'm doing the wrong thing. And she like talked me off the cliff. She was like, no, this dog has been through a lot. You don't know what they've been through. You got to give her time. And she turned out to be like literally the best dog.
Yeah,
And then I
people
found out
wonder-
that she came from a domestic violence home, which
Oh,
really was interesting. So,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
interesting. And that was the only Great Pyrenees you.
Yep, that was it. And I'll get another one day. Just not now, because because I have that cat.
You look at that one downstairs and you're like, oh.
Oh, she's so cute.
Yeah,
And then she has that cattle dog in her face, and you're like, oh my gosh.
So this is Finch. She's a former training dog. She's back from. She comes for boarding all the time. She's the best.
So
she is
cute.
She's going through a little something right now.
Well,
but,
she's a teenager now.
Yeah,
but...
she's a teenager, but she's like just starting to grow into her face, and she's so cute.
I love
all right,
it.
so back to the Cocker Spaniel. They do not have a very big panel, which kind of surprises me.
They have eyes.
Eyes. They share. Well, they have degenerative myelopathy.
Yep.
Familiar nephropathy. I don't know what that is. Skeletal dysplasia. I wonder if...
Yeah, back in the day, I don't remember testing for much on them. Eyes, definitely.
There's one here that is... I wonder if some of these very complicated names might be...
Immune mediated. It was like... I call it hemolytic autoimmune, but it's like immune mediated. Which
I don't
is funny
see it on
because
here,
she started out with bruising. And I didn't realize, I thought she might have, when we ran through the woods, that something hit her and bruised her. It was just a small spot, but then it all came together once, she started passing out and things like
It's
that.
interesting. I wonder if you can screen for it, through another way, or maybe it's been identified. I mean, that was a long time ago. It was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
well, we're lucky that we have such a big panel on Aussies.
Yeah, for real. Well, I mean, isn't that part of the reason why you picked
For
us?
sure.
Yeah.
I think it's
that's why I did not do
amazing.
German Shepherds.
Yeah. Well, they have such,
Yeah.
overbred.
So you bred her twice. Gusty you used, though, not with other females? Because he was intact, or was he just intact because he was a show dog?
I think actually Gusty was the second litter.
Gusty was a good dog.
He was a great dog. You know what's funny is I remembered as I was driving down here, because I was reminiscing, he once bred a dog after he was neutered.
Yes, that can happen.
And I was like completely freaked out because I had this dog.
Did he tie and
Yes,
everything? Isn't that
everything.
crazy? Yeah.
I didn't know
Yes.
that could happen.
Yeah.
I remember where I was. I was at Val Penstone, who was another groomer. If any groomers are listening, she was a very highly recognized groomer. I learned a lot from her. I was at her house, and I had this Cocker Spaniel with me. Was it her? And yeah, and he tied with her there, and I was like, he's neutered. I was, young. I didn't know any of this.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't know that either. I just learned that.
Yeah. I didn't
And
know.
nothing happened, but it was just
Of
strange.
course. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny.
Weird. Huh.
Well, part of it is learned, right? It's a learned behavior.
Well, but
So they'd still have the muscle memory.
she was in
so to
heat?
speak.
She must have been.
Yeah, she would have to be in heat. And so, they still have this lizard brain, this memory, and it's a habit that they've created.
No, it's crazy.
So-
I don't know. I never thought about it.
Some boys, once you neuter them, just dry up and that's it. They're not interested anymore. And other boys are still horn dogs for the rest of their lives.
Well, I just think about, like, if anything, it would be Deacon and Vivian. But Vivian is not.
Yeah. Well, if Vivi was in heat, though, Deacon would breed her.
That's true, I guess.
Gusty was great, though. He had manners. He wasn't like
Those are the best
an
ones.
annoying... Either when he was not neutered and when he was not annoying. Like I only neutered him because I wanted him to live. Like
Well, we
long
would have
more.
never neutered our males had they not started to fight amongst each other.
Yeah.
Because I love an intact male.
Oh my gosh, no!
I
I
love them.
can't.
But you can't see it though.
Yeah.
No, it's important. It's important
It is.
because
I
I,
would
don't
like-
want to look at it.
I would not have an intact Vizsla, for
Yeah,
instance.
no
I
thanks.
couldn't. I'm not sure I could deal with that. A young intact Vizsla, when they're little grapes, I can live with that. But the tennis
Yeah.
ball in a stretch sock, no, I can't live with that.
But I don't know. They do so much. Isn't it like healthier for them? I'm sorry, Jacob. I think it's healthy. That's why they made nudicles. Do you remember?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that brings me way back.
Yep.
So you were around when I had the kennel, and then I think you were when I had the kennel. I think you were in Ridgefield, because I remember it was not a long ride from there.
Yep,
And then I met Gary. I got married.
I went to Bao Meow in Ardsley.
Oh right, I forgot about that. Once I got married, and then I got pregnant very quickly. And then I sold that and I had the store,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Forgot about the store. Oh, my gosh. That's where I got
When
one of
did
my
you
cats.
stop grooming? Like, how soon after you got married? Were you still groomed when you were married?
Yeah, and then I had a grooming truck.
Oh, you did? I didn't know
I didn't
that.
know that.
Oh, gosh. Pet Van Gogh. Do you need me to explain it? Pet Van Gogh. Like Van
Oh,
Gogh.
I get it. I get it.
See, Van Gogh was an.
Oh, okay. Lord.
Yes, where every pet is a work of art.
I didn't know that. So how long did you have them in? We must have not. We must have lost contact at that point because we had a period of
Not
10 or 15 years.
No,
where we
it
were-
wasn't. You know what it was? I had a lot of good grooming clients, Pound Ridge, Salem, all that. But then, like, the gas prices were getting at an all-time high then. And it was, as much as I love the van, when something broke on it, it was a pain to fix. Like, to find someone, it was like an hour away to fix it. And we moved to Florida for 8 months. So we took the van down there, and then once I was down there, I sold the van.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So you and Bob moved to Florida when you say we. It was you and
Yes. Yep.
Bob? I didn't know that.
Yep.
Where'd you live in Florida?
West Palm Beach.
And why did you move back?
It's just not my
'Cause
cup
it's
of
Florida.
tea. Cement City. It's not. There's no nature there. It was like
Yeah,
the
it's-
bike riding was fun because it was all flat.
It's very hard to live full time in Florida when you were born and raised in New York.
Right, it is, and it's also like if you're not living on A1A or right on the beach, it's kind of like
Yeah,
yucky.
it's there's not much
Yeah.
there.
And it's hot.
Yeah, so
I
it's
like
nice
the
in the
hot-
winter,
I don't
terrible
like-
in the
yes.
summer. Yeah. So you had a van, so you didn't feel like you were working in a tin can.
No, I loved it.
Yeah.
I really did. I really loved it. It was fun. Because I don't know, it was less stressful. I feel like in a grooming shop, it can be very stressful to like have this list of dogs ahead of you and you have this like, okay, you have 14 dogs to do and then all these other dogs are coming and going and barking and I feel like it's such a stressful environment.
It is. It's
And-
hot and humid, and there's constant dander in the air. You probably weren't wearing ear protection. Now groomers wear ear
let's
protections.
talk about your mouth, all the hairs. I'm in my lungs. I just picture my hair looking like a filter of like like all this little dog hair stuck to it. I mean, now if
Yeah.
I was grooming that much, I would wear a mask. And what's funny is Val Penstone back in the day was like, we should be wearing masks, and I thought, is she crazy? But she's right.
And did you have to do like more flea baths and stuff, so more chemicals? Or?
That's funny. I'm trying to think about that. We did, but it was more. I don't think they were in the beginning. Yes, like so when I started working in kennels when I was like 13 or 14. Yeah, we had some.
It was constant. Every other dog came
dips and oh my gosh, the smell and how
in. It's a miracle we
horrible.
don't all have cancer from that.
Gosh.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, is it the area? Because you seemed like you groomed in a lot of wealthy areas, so maybe they didn't have fleas as much as other areas.
No, it had
No.
nothing to do with it.
It was everybody had.
Yeah.
The big change was the
Front
the
line,
drops
yep.
on the back,
Mhm.
the front
Okay.
line, and then the stuff that the pills
The
and
cap
all of that.
stars were like great.
And
'cause
now,
as soon
you
as
know-
they walk in the door, you just
Yeah.
give it to them.
Yep. So
Interesting.
you've never experienced fleas. I'm sure that.
Well, I just hear Nancy talk about it, and she's like,
Yeah,
all these
yeah.
chemicals flying in the air.
the fact that those of us who were exposed to that still have uteruses is amazing, honestly, because it was pure carcinogens.
Yeah.
So
It's terrible. And you think of that in the dog. I remember like wetting down dogs. Like now, not that many people smoke anymore, but like you'd wet down the dog, it would smell like an ashtray because the people.
Oh,
would
that's
be
interesting.
smoking.
That I don't
Oh
remember.
my gosh, it was horrible, and it
Yeah.
would smell so gross. And I would try to tell the people, you can't smoke with, all that smoke is getting into your dog and you, But
well, we were talking about skiing briefly before we came on the air, and you were talking about helmets and like skiing. How many people on the slopes have helmets?
You have to have a helmet. You're not allowed to do it if you don't have a
Oh,
helmet
you
on.
do?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
So
okay.
they were unheard of the last time I was skiing, which was probably 30 years ago. My sister Jen started wearing a helmet, I don't know, probably 20 years ago. And she was really, Jen, she likes to protect her noggin.
Yeah.
So she was really on the minority. And now it makes sense, at least in the Northeast, because it's so icy. If you
Yeah.
fall, you can really
Well,
screw yourself
when
up.
I just started skiing, so I fell a lot. Well, not a lot. I fell reasonable amount for my first time, and I hit my head. I definitely,
Oh, it's wow.
my marbles
Okay.
got kind of, a couple times. So I was like,
So-
thank God for this helmet.
So you don't see you see groomers now, to go back to that, you see groomers now with masks and definitely ear protection.
Ear
Yeah.
protection,
Like
mask.
I don't use the power dryer without ear protection. We don't allow our dogs to bark in the training room. Like we're very like I protect my ears, and I think the damage is probably done for me, but for your generation, you have to protect your ears.
I'm kind of 50-50 with the ear protection.
No, you should have.
I'm
that.
gonna regret it, but
Well, I bought all those new.
I know they're comfy.
Yeah.
I've been wearing them just because they're comfy, and that loud
I also don't
guy
mow the lawn
downstairs.
without my big earmuffs on.
Yeah.
No, I have them on all the time.
I definitely would use it like some sort of respirator now with because I just thinking about all those dogs and all that hair blowing around.
And the dander. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just sticks in your lung like glue. Gross. I have the an air filter system, and I keep in the bedroom. I keep on at night because we're in the bedroom with 6 dogs.
Yeah.
And with the door closed, so that's on, and that's also why I keep the window open. It's a lot of dogs. They also stink at night. Not just the dander. All right, so where are we now? We're in probably. Well, let's see. I got married in '98. You came in '99.
I got married in 99.
You got married when you were 6 months old.
Yep.
Because I was 6 weeks old because I was still nursing when I came
Yep.
to your wedding. And then we lost track. We lost touch for a long time.
Because right after that, that's when we moved to Florida for a little bit.
Okay.
So
Maybe
we did a
that's
little bit of, I think I had the grooming van after that and did a little bit of grooming and then moved to Florida for the 8 months.
So you still had Gusty and Splash.
Still had Gusty and Splash. When we came back from Florida, I lost Gusty. We were house hunting and I lost Gusty before we got back, which is funny because the dog with the hemolytic autoimmune lasted longer than
Oh.
the other
What
one.
did he die of?
I think he had cancer. I brought him to an emergency vet in Florida, and they said they weren't going to aspirate this one lump he had, and they didn't. They couldn't stop the bleeding, and he just got real. I know, it was terrible.
How old was he?
I think he was like 13.
Oh, he had a good long life then.
Yeah, but
It's hard.
it's awful.
Yeah.
And then didn't you have Papillon?
I had 2. Well, yeah, okay. So I had Ratty, who was like a Papillon, maybe a long-haired Chihuahua mix. She was trapped in the Have a Heart trap. She was running back and forth between the bank in Mayapack and somewhere else. OTB in the bank. And Bernie said, "Come get this dog. Look at her. She's so cute."
Was she
So-
working at the vet at the time?
I think so. I think she was there. But, oh yeah, because the shelter called Bernie and said, "You have to come take this dog because she's awful and biting and horrible." So Bernie took her, and then I picked her up. And it's funny because Splash hated like other female dogs, and she never made a sound with Ratty. It's like she fit right in. Ratty was a great dog. She was cute, crazy. And then I got another Papillon because somebody we knew passed away from cancer, and I took him because.
And then you went from Papillons to Pyrenees.
Yeah. Papillons, Ratty was, I loved her. She was great. And Ruben was a good dog as well. But I like big dogs.
Which is your favorite? Like, if you had to pick,
Like my favorite breed of dog?
yeah, out of like the 3.
Oh, Great Pyrenees for sure. Hands down.
Why?
They're just really chill. They're not, I don't like a dog
You
that.
don't want a Velcro dog.
No, I don't want a dog that's like licking me all the time and having.
Never mind, Twiggy's not for you.
And being on top of it, and like, just constantly needing me. I can't, and I love petting the dog. Like I loved Val and petting her and loving on her, but she never kissed. She was so funny, and her personality was just chill. She would go out and go in the yard and just like, I love the way they're all, and I don't know, I'm assuming like, I know breeds, so a lot of them have that personality in them, their traits that they don't lose. There's traits that the Pyrenees have. They do a lot of perimeter marking. Val would only go to the bathroom along the fence line, and she always, chased cars, inside the fence line, and would be very protective. And at night she would sleep against the door, so where people would come in. It's just cool. She's just a cool dog.
So you like livestock guardian?
I do. I love Anatolians. That might be a dog I might rescue.
Make sure it's sweet.
I love Anatolians.
Livestock guardian dogs would be the last breed I would get.
Gosh,
They're
I
just
love
no
not my
hounds.
thing.
No hounds.
that's true.
I would
Hounds.
not ever.
Definitely
have
not a hound.
No, hounds the bottom.
No.
Cute puppies. Love to play with a hound puppy as long as I can give it back.
So I feel like dogs are sort of like cars in that, like, the first car was the Model T. I think it was Ford created the Model T. You'll appreciate this because you're a car person. So the Model T, I think I'm correct about this, I hope I'm not wrong, was only one color. I think it was only black, and it was just a carbon copy. Like, it was, you just got the base model. That's it. There were no, add-ons. And he thought that was the way of the future. Of course, that's not considering human beings.
Yeah.
So, of course, human beings, there's a million different kinds of cars and add-ons and base models and premium and colors and customizations, right? That's kind of the way dogs are, right? I mean, that's why there's so many different breeds. It's not just a dog descended from wolves. That's all the same. It's size and temperament. And is it a Velcro dog? Is it more independent? Is it aloof? Is it super affectionate? Does it need to be trained? Is it smart? Is it dumb? It's sort of like cars.
That's why I get frustrated with people getting dogs that don't match their personality.
Right.
I'm just like, why did you get a GSP and you want to stay at home and just
Right.
lay around? That's not
Right.
the dog for you. Get a Great Pyrenees. They'll lay with you. You don't even have to interact with them. They're just super chill.
Yeah, I mean, if only people picked the dog that matched them, but
The world would be a better place.
we would be out of business,
Here's
though.
the thing, okay? I think Australian cattle dogs are really cool, and I love the look of them, and border collies. But I know me. I could never have those breeds ever. I remember when
But
I
let me
met
ask
Bob,
you
and he
this.
was like, "Oh, I want a border collie," and I'm like, "We're
No,
never
you
getting
don't.
a border
You
collie
don't.
and a German Shepherd." I'm like, "It's never happening." No.
So, at what age do you think you were when you realized that? Like, when you really knew what dogs were for you and what dogs you love, but definitely are not for you?
Probably close to 30. I mean, when I had Cocker Spaniels, I'm like, this is a great dog because they don't, I kind of knew then because when you're sick, they kind of just lay with you. When you want to play, they'll play ball, they'll go out for walks. So I kind of knew the personality that I wanted. But I think probably my 30s, because I did want, originally I was like, Australian cattle dog, I'm going to get that dog. But then I think I realized in my 20s, I was like, I couldn't have that dog. I'm just not that active.
Could you imagine?
No.
I could never do a cattle
To be
dog.
fair, I felt that way for a while. I wanted a cattle dog.
They're
so
super
bad.
cool.
And so the
looking.
universe,
And
so the
I
universe
love
said,
them.
Twiggy will be your Australian
Okay,
cattle dog.
but wait. So once I had Twiggy, I was just like, okay, well, she's a lot, and I have to work with her. But like, I'll have an Australian cattle dog. It won't be a big deal.
Yeah.
Then I went to Nancy's sister's house, and she has
Our
two.
friend Nancy.
Yeah, our friend Nancy's sister's house, and she has two Australian cattle dogs, a female and a male, and they accidentally got out when we were like at her house at a party, and they came in like two bulls in a china shop, and I was like, if anybody moves a bit, that female is going to bite you, and I said, nope, not for me. I will never have a cattle dog ever.
Yeah.
And if I am gonna get one, it would be like a male, and he would already be an adult and have bred and like
A senior.
old. Then I would get one.
17-year-old
But
cattle
border
dog.
collies too. I love the look of them. I mean, they're really cool to look at, right? I mean, who doesn't love that like half face that sometimes border collies have? But
Yeah.
just
Well,
not-
border collies are, they're real working dogs, so they're unusual in that they're not they're not too standard. You can have so many different types, size, coat length, patterns.
I love them, but I don't like how they age.
I don't think they age well either.
No, they don't.
It's the teeth for me immediately. They have a stinky breath, and I'm like,
Yeah,
not
that's,
about
that's
that.
a real collie-ish thing.
yeah. So I won't have a
agree.
collie for that reason.
But they're fun. I would never get a border collie because they're just too much for me. They just need too much.
I think I've gone
Toy
out of
dogs
that.
need too much dental work. I can't deal with having a dental every year on a dog, like little dogs.
Too much.
Yep.
I don't, so they're just some breeds that I just won't, I would never have. But, I see like, that's another thing with shelters. And I know you've talked about this on the podcast. Like there should be more, I don't know what the word is, more,
Regulation.
not regulation when you teach people something. Instruction. I don't know. Like there's this one rescue I follow on Facebook and I'm like, I've seen Great Pyrenees on there. They had beautiful, beautiful German Shepherd puppies, which, I halfway went, huh, maybe. And then I was like, what are you nuts? I can't even, I'm not a puppy person either. I need an adult dog.
She isn't either.
Yeah. But like, there should be more like, you need to read up. Here's the, read up on this breed. Or if they know if you can look at a dog and say, all right, this dog has a lot of, let's say German Shepherd in it or Great Pyrenees, read up on the more dominant breed, that we know it is. Can you handle this? Like, people get a Great Pyrenees be like, he barks. He doesn't come when I call him. They don't. No matter how much. That's the thing about that breed too. That's the one thing I don't like about the Great Pyrenees is my dog could never be off leash. And I miss that. I miss being able to, letting her run on the beach in Rhode Island. My mom would be like, can't you just let her off the leash? I'm like, yeah, if I never want to see her again,
Right.
I can't.
Right.
But
I was watching a video, a trainer on TikTok. She had an Australian Shepherd and she was talking, she was doing a video on off-leash work with this training dog, Australian Shepherd that she was, and she was, going on and on about what a wonderful trainer she was and look at how well trained this dog was off-leash. And somebody said, oh, I have a Great Pyrenees. I'd be so scared to do that. And I commented, you are correct. Right. Like, she's telling you that the Australian Shepherd is so well off-leash trained. I've done videos explaining that the only off-leash training I've done is not fuck it up. Yeah. Right? My dogs are programmed to stay with me unless I fuck it up. And then they're going to sort of wander. Yeah. But like for a trainer to not put a disclaimer in there saying, hey guys, just so you know, this is an Australian Shepherd. Right. They're designed to stay with you. Yes. You might have a hound or a livestock guardian dog or a husky, and they're not pre-programmed to stay with you. So what you're complaining about shelters, right, or rescue groups, that they're not doing educating.
Same thing.
It's the same thing with trainers. They're putting a short video on and not putting disclaimers in there, saying, hey, either this is really super hard for this dog because of their breed, or this is super easy and I'm acting like some amazing trainer. We always talk about that. Yeah. Like a trainer who is working with a Great Pyrenees doing some amazing work is highly respected in my book, as opposed to somebody who's doing a border collie. Well, they're born to do that, And that's not to say that you don't have to know stuff to do stuff with border. Of course you do. You have to be a good trainer to work with borders too. But it's a little different when you're working with, like the dog we have downstairs, the hound.
Yes, he's tough. I mean, he's biddable. Well, what I was gonna say is, they had that bulldog that did agility. Yeah, that's amazing. I watched that and I'm like, oh my god, how could you get that bulldog to be so driven? Because they're not driven. They won't work for you.
No,
they're big lazy potatoes.
And those are the most popular. The dogs who screw up in agility are always the fan favorites.
Yeah. Though there was that Papillon, that crazy Papillon that I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. It felt like they put it on like ×2. It was going so fast through
They're so fun to watch.
So cute.
I mean, all of that stuff takes talent for sure. But I saw a Mastiff do agility.
I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, and that Chihuahua that does agility? Yeah. That Chihuahua's amazing. Oh my god, the little bar is like on the ground and it just runs up and goes the cutest thing. Cute. And she loves it. That's hard to do, to do high level leash healing with these tiny dogs, because you got so much bending
right under it too. Yeah. But that's so good for them. We talk about, me needing to do something, as we age, you should always be doing something. And it's so good for dogs, no matter what, to keep training, doing something with them.
Although Sophie and I, maybe counterintuitively, when we go and watch competitions, which is not often, I would say half the dogs don't enjoy it. No. And that bothers me. Yeah. It's like, just because you love to do agility with the dog doesn't mean it's clear that the dog is not enjoying it. Even if they're doing fine, you can tell the dogs that are coming out going, this is my life. And the other dogs are like, okay, yeah, I guess,
Yeah.
you know?
Well,
And it's like, and I understand, I can understand where they're coming from because that's their whole life, right? Usually agility. If they're doing competitions at Westminster for agility, that's pretty much what they do.
it's the same thing with showing dogs. They don't, I mean, I can't speak now for what, the breed ring is and what it's like, but I remember working for a handler and it was not a fun life for them. That's what completely turned me around. Like, I won't even watch dog shows anymore because it was not good.
Yeah.
Well, can you tell us a little bit of like the inside scoop? Because I don't really have it.
I think it's different when you're working for a professional handler than maybe when you're breeder exhibitor.
Right.
Like, so if you're a mom and you decided you were going to show your dogs, you truly care for your dogs and love your dogs. And not to say that a professional handler doesn't love dogs, but I think it's more of a business.
So some people will just hire somebody to take their dog and go show them and get titles on them. That's a handler, professional handler.
And it's kind of who you know. I'm sorry to say it's not always like this is the best looking dog of the breed. It's at least when I was involved in it.
Of course it's political.
Was political.
Of course.
It
Same
still
with
is.
horse shows too.
Because my girlfriend's coworker, she shows Aussies and another dog. I can never remember the type of breed it is, but and she will show her dog, and her dogs are beautiful, I mean, it hits all the right buttons with all the Aussies.
Right.
And her dogs won't win over this other woman's dog, who's like, Maya's taking a picture of that dog. I'm like, that dog's not like a beautiful, not a show beautiful Australian Shepherd, like beautiful, but not, I wouldn't pick that one in the ring out of the other coworkers' dogs. And she goes, yeah, this one won all these medals because she knows a bunch of people, not because her dog's beautiful.
All of those things.
So
I mean, unless it's purely based on merit, like a tennis game.
Yeah.
Right? They're always gonna, anything that's subjective, like any kind of beauty pageant or performance is always subjective.
And like I worked the kennel and I took care of the dogs, and the dogs, went out and went back in their crates, and it's kind of like it was a sad
That's not
life.
kind of a sad life. It is a sad life.
Yeah, no, it is. And they go, and so I would let them play in the snow. I would let them have fun. And a lot of the dogs that we had very long coats. And I remember one of the owners coming one day and going, oh, if so-and-so saw their dog out there, they wouldn't be happy. I said, sorry, I'm taking care of them. Their dog's here. And I'll, bathe them and brush them out, and they'll look perfect.
And that's the other thing. So if it's a dog like a Cocker Spaniel, as opposed to a German Shorthair Pointer, who you're just using the glove, there's something like a Cocker Spaniel they spend their lives on the grooming table. Yeah. I mean, like the amount of grooming,
at least twice a week. And then there's the Bichons, or any white
dog. Yep.
Do they touch the ground ever? I mean, a lot of people will put the paper, the no ink paper, whatever it's called now, and that's what I mean. That's
agree.
why I'm just not into showing dogs. I'm not in. I really went the other way. But I respect a good breeder that has morals and will test for certain genetic problems. I wouldn't breed myself, but I respect the ones that do. So,
agree. I feel that way. Like, I would love to do agility with Twiggy just because she's so driven, and I could get her to do anything I want. But it's the people. I really don't vibe with the type of people that are working there, and I just feel like they're very judgmental and very hard, and you give their dog a compliment and they take it offensively, and I'm like, I just said your dog was I don't know. Our experience when we did agility with Ruby, I did not like the people.
Yeah, but you do it for you, and you just, if that's what you guys like, you and Twiggy, then you should do it. I mean, you shouldn't let other people.
Well, you have to enjoy it,
Yeah.
And
if that's what I'm
the
saying.
The thing is, can you remember the course? That's the only reason I don't do agility, because I can never remember the course. I seriously couldn't. I'm not being joking about that. I really couldn't remember. And then, if you go to the next level, you qualify, then they change the course again.
Oh my goodness.
There's no way I could do it. And
I'd be terrible at that.
To do it under pressure, running
with other people.
No, that's a real talent, and I do not possess that talent. Truly, I don't have that kind of short-term memory ability.
I don't think I could do that now. I never even thought of that. I would mess that up. I'd go the wrong way, and my dog would be going the right way.
All right, what are we at? We're at 70 minutes. We probably should wind this up. Did we? I think we only got to like what 2004. But you guys get the gist of it. Beth and I, well, I don't know. What would you call your 20s? It's not. We didn't grow up together, but that was certainly a pivotal time. The 20s.
You guys became adults together.
True.
It's true. And you learn a lot. I mean, it's, and I think it's very important to learn from, the right people, whether you're learning how to groom or, training, because
Well, it's a lot of information out there, and it's so different than we were her age,
Yeah.
because social media and YouTube, and you can learn so much, if you find the right people. Of course, there's so much information out there about dog training. It actually benefits us because people don't know what they're looking at. So they come here and they've tried 50 different videos and things, and it hasn't
Or
worked.
trainers.
And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is why it didn't work. Oh, I didn't realize it wasn't just about a 30-second video. It was everything that goes in underneath that video, all that foundation building, which is why we have a problem sort of describing what we do, because what we do is so subtle and nuanced, and it's all about relationship and foundation building, not so much about obedience.
I don't really think about doing it. And then I'll work with I'll go to somebody's house with their dog that doesn't behave, and they listen to me in 2 seconds, and they're like, how'd you get him to do that? And I'm like, it's all nuance. I can't really tell you what I did. I just asked for respect. He gave me respect, and I rewarded him for the respect he gave me, and now he loves me.
I was talking to a puppy client, and we'll wind up after this, but I was talking to a person interested in purchasing one of the puppies, and they ended up giving me a deposit. And one of the things they asked was, the different personalities of the puppies, because they wanted to make sure they were getting the right one that fit their lifestyle, yada, yada, yada. This litter tends to be pretty, they all tend to be pretty mellow, like the entire litter.
Yeah, no, they're really mellow.
There's not a lot of differences, at least, that are showing right now. We can usually start to see at this age, the little nudge, the bitchy female.
Well, Twiggy at this age was crazy.
Yeah, so I think this litter is going to be very smooth temperament-wise. So I wasn't able to give them a lot of information about that. But the husband said, will we find these? Then they have Aussies. Will we find? Do you find your dogs are willful or something like that, stubborn? And I said, that's interesting, because I don't think any dog is willful or stubborn. When a dog is being willful or stubborn, I view it as my fault. What did I do? How is this behavior getting reinforced, and what's my part in that? And how can I change that? I don't think dogs can be willful and stubborn. I don't think
they have
part
a
of who they
higher
are.
knowledge.
I think that there are breed tendencies that can appear stubborn.
Right. And I have to ask you this, and we're going to have to go longer, because I asked you this and you didn't respond to me, and I think I asked you in a text. So, do you think, and I have my own opinion, do you think dogs are spiteful? Meaning, Sammy peed on my bed because I was, in the other room, talking to someone else.
Do I think they can be spiteful? No. I don't think that's in there.
And I don't think so either.
Yeah.
But I hear that, you hear it a lot,
All the time.
and it's
She's jealous.
Yes,
She's spiteful.
I'm like, dogs do not think like that.
No.
They don't have
they
higher
don't.
level thinking to be
Right.
spiteful.
Oh my goodness.
Right. I mean,
I'm like,
I think what you see, when people talk about dogs being jealous, what they're seeing is, well, we can narrow everything down to resource guarding,
Yep.
right? If you boil it down long enough, it will all be about resources.
Yep.
So a dog who's being jealous is really just resource guarding, and people put, of course, the human jealousy on
twist
there.
on
But
it. Yeah.
dogs
They make
don't
them
have
like
the
they're
ability.
humans, and they're not. They're
Right.
dogs.
So Twiggy likes to resource guard me with Ruby in the room. So which is why I've removed her, because Ruby is she knows that she can pick on her.
Right.
And so if Twiggy's on the bed and Ruby tries to jump on the bed and she's on the bed, then she's going to act like she is being,
Jealous.
Yeah, but that's not what it is.
Right.
It's her resource
And
guarding
it
the
kind
bed.
of bothers
and
me because when people say that, it's sort of like, get over yourself.
Yeah.
You're not that special.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you got a big opinion of yourself. They're not jealous. It's that it's just you're a resource
I
to
hear
them.
it all the time. I see it. I saw it on social media one day, and that's when I think I reached out to you to ask you that question, because one of these people I follow on Instagram, her dog went to the bathroom in the bed, and I'm like, you need to take it to the vet. I'm like, it's not because you have a new baby that it decided to go to the bathroom.
Or it's just anxiety, and that's how it comes out, right?
Right.
That's the other thing that we deal with all the time, right? Discharging of emotion, being able to regulate, and we'll talk about
that dog sounds like he's dysregulated because there's a new baby in the house, and the baby cries, and they make weird noises, and now all the attention's to the baby, and like
Or like Maisie the other day went after the baby who was crawling and scratched her in the face, which is so completely out of character for Maisie.
Yeah, she's
she's
such
the
a
little
sweetie.
toy Aussie, and they were so upset.
Oh.
And I said, your dog's not aggressive.
Right.
Relax. But I said, let's talk about what was happening. You were packing your bags and getting ready to get in the car to drop her off at me. And the baby's crawling all of a sudden for the first time in this dog's life. So it was a confluence of, factors that caused her to lash out at the baby.
Anxious, insecure,
very
dog.
anxious little dog.
So little changes, it just makes her snap. So I could, that's where the nuances come in. Is like I could see that kind of
So
bubbling
now-
up.
And we could make that same mistake, in our own house, even though we're
Absolutely.
trainers. And the only difference is we're able to then break down what happens and see it for what it is after you beat yourself up, and then make changes.
I mean, I'll always tell people that I can get your dog to listen to me, but because it's your dog and your relationship and your emotions with that dog, you're gonna have a much harder time being able to, because they've gotten away with
I
all
can
this
make
stuff.
it look easy, but
Exactly.
you have the emotional involvement with that
because
dog.
I don't have
It's
the
like when your
same-
kids behave well for other people.
Right. Oh, it's not,
It's the same thing, and I have the same problems that you do. It's just different, and I can just see.
We can just see from a professional eye what's happened. It doesn't mean we don't make the mistakes.
Nope.
We just
I make
know
mistakes
how the
the
mistake
time.
happened. Yeah. Well, you do. I don't.
Yeah, you're funny.
All right. Jeez, poor Jacob. He's going to have to edit this. We're going to have to wind this up. You were awfully quiet today. Nothing to add to us today? Okay. No.
I gave you the correct date.
The correct
you
date.
go.
Yes. And that's what a producer does. I mean, that's what...
We need to get like an iPad so I can look shit up.
Yeah. Like what's his name? Howard Stern's. Is it Ralph?
I don't know. I thought you were gonna say Jamie from.
His producer for the last 40 years. He's kind of always Google stuff and get the answers.
Something here so I can search. Because I'm afraid to search up on here because I don't want to stop the thing.
Yeah. Who knows? Are these cameras still running?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, let's wind it up. Thank you very much for joining us,
great
Beth.
time.
By the way, nobody calls her Beth. I'm the only one that calls her Beth.
My family does.
Oh, okay. Me and her family. Everybody else calls you Liz?
Is that that's your middle name?
So I'm really Mary Elizabeth. So I never. Then I have people that call me Mary and Mary Elizabeth. I have a bunch of different names.
So, Elizabeth can be Elizabeth, Beth,
Yeah,
Liz.
yeah.
Right. So that's where
So
Beth
just
comes
go.
from. But then shortly, Bernie calls you Beth?
Bernie calls me Beth.
Yeah. So the old timers call her Beth.
Interesting.
Yeah, with my husband, he's like, went to my family and he's like, they were calling me Beth, and he's like, who's Beth? Went crazy, like different personalities.
Well, thank you for joining us, Liz, Beth, Mary, Elizabeth.
Very
Maybe you can come back again. We'll have to come up
We'll
with
do a grooming session.
For sure. We should just have all the groomers we know on it.
It would be so
Have a grooming
chaotic.
round table.
We should have a groomathon, and then you'll get all your dogs done in one
Right?
day. We'll just
That's a great idea.
and then we'll groom them all, and then you guys can judge which one you like the most.
Well, there you go. There you go. Absolutely.
That'd be fun.
I was telling Beth that, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't tell anybody, but there'd be signs, that stuff on TikTok, people say that. And the signs would be, as you know,
Yeah.
a full-time groomer that would groom my dogs.
Okay.
Every 2 weeks. So 4 every 2 weeks.
Okay, but if we do a groomathon, can I be part of it?
Of
Can I
course.
groom?
Well,
Okay.
you're going to do all the butts.
No, I don't want to do all the butts. Everyone has to do their own butt because I think I'm really good at butts, but I've been told that I'm not good at butts.
No,
so.
I actually think you're very good at Aussie butts.
I think I am too, but whatever.
All right.
Monica.
She doesn't like your Aussie butts?
Well, all my groomer friends are like, you don't pull the hair out right because I like floof it. I know you're probably gonna feel the same way. I floof it and then I like curly hair.
Yeah, because you're completely self-taught, but you're very good at Aussie butts. My Aussie butts are a nightmare.
I like cutting hair, so I don't like a lot of hair left. I mean, I'll leave the hair, but like I like it tightly trimmed. I like it nice.
Well, our butts downstairs are a mess right now.
Yeah, they're really
But
bad.
when they're all brushed out and you do them nice.
Yeah.
If I just had one Aussie, it
they
would
like
be well
shake a little
groomed.
bit. That's like my favorite.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Jeez. All right, we got to wind this up. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Remember to subscribe, like, follow, share, all that good stuff. We'll see you next time. Bye. Dog for Thought is written and hosted by me, Sarah Brown, co-hosted by Sophie Brown, produced, edited, and original music by Jacob Brown. Don't forget to like and subscribe.